empower the youth and ushering them into adulthood to be better adults, So really, I see a future where there is a mixed race in Africa.
Welcome, Danso.
Hello, Mr. Krasey.
How are you?
I'm doing great and warm greetings from Ghana. It's evening here. Good evening.
Yeah, it's bright and early, 6 in the morning here. So
Okay.
very happy to have you on board to talk to you.
Great.
Danso is the head of iWorks in Ghana, and I come to meet Danso, I'd say 10, 12 years ago through his sister Botima. And at that stage, we were doing an outreach of helping with orphanages and with feeding children that were hungry. And over the span of the last 12 years, I've developed a really good friendship with Danso. Danso, tell us a little bit about iWorks and how it came into being.
Well, thank you, Mr. Krasey. Well, iWorks had started with myself and my sister, Boatma. You made mention of her. So it was an initiative to train ICT, train the youth in the community in the area of ICT and technology, most especially graphic design and web designing. And then as time goes on, we added other courses. So that's how it started.
Hmm. So I think I remember something with animation. Did you do any animation work as well?
Yeah, we did quite animation work as well, but then the resources in producing the animation wasn't coming forth for us. So we focused on the graphic design. But of course, animation is still in the pipeline as part of our project because the vision of Boatima agenda, what she started and what I also contribute, we felt we could communicate to the rest of the world through animation, the rich culture of Africa, and Ghana to be precise. We couldn't have communicated much better without moving some characters, to depict our story. So animation is indeed part of the project, yeah.
That's cool. I've been passionate towards connecting with you guys and staying in touch over the years because being health orientated, I realised the economics and the different periods and phases that you've gone through has been quite powerful, especially with COVID and things like that. So when we started, I worked together and got all the domains registered, and then built your first website. That was quite a journey. How did that impact you at the time?
It was very great. We had enough, I should say, we enjoyed the benefit that it brought because back then we couldn't have afford the domain and hosting, even though I had a little knowledge in the design. I was still in the classroom learning some tricks in web design and web technologies. So I think you hooked us up with Mark.
That's right.
Yeah, so he built the first website. Yeah, and it was on WordPress, but we were not familiar with WordPress then. It was Joomla. So after Mark has hosted it and a little training, then we couldn't hear from Mark also. Then we had to switch to Joomla. And it was on Joomla for some time. We realized no, rather WordPress is the best. So we came back to WordPress and here we are.
Yeah, I'm sure we can help each other again in the future with your online presence through FKC Digital. Um, I, I I know that COVID hit you guys pretty hard, along with us and things like that. Your community outreach for local businesses and what you're doing there to help people have employment, have some sort of economic result. How's it affecting the psychology of the people there and the mental health?
Okay, mostly in Africa, apart from the moments where lockdown became a thing that we should all be indoors, psychologically, people were kind of restricted from going out, and job seeking had been a challenge. So mainly people, I realized the patronage for internet activities had gone up for some time when we went in the lockdown. And for that reason, we thought of building a website that could serve the community, mm, for people to look out for companies that are still open. During the COVID, you cannot tell if this restaurant is open or not, if
Mm.
this spa is hard. So we thought of, you bought 3 domains. So we created the iosgh.org, whereby it's kind of a Google business listing. So it's a platform that lists all businesses found on Google. So if you go on that platform, you can easily know a business that is open and operating in your area. We also thought of using that opportunity to fish businesses who are looking for internet service and provide jobs for their teeming unemployed youths. So for instance, on the site, you are able to see 1, 2, 3 businesses that have listed on Google, but they are not doing it well. So what we intend doing is giving coaching or training to the youth who are interested in some of these areas, and then tell them, hey, this company is in your community, but it's not doing right with the Google analysis and what have you. So you can approach them and sell the service to them and make money from. So that has been what our plan and journey during this COVID moment, how we can create jobs for the youth.
Mm. So part of what we do at FKC Health is I have an affiliate association with Manor Youth Project. I'm one of the leaders and directors in that. So we have youth outreach of rites of passage for culture. Did you find during this last lockdown period, the last 7, 8, 9 months, did you find a rise in youth trouble, like conflict with youth and violence and things like that, and crime?
In the area of crime, I cannot communicate much, but what I've heard from news, a little crime scene, yeah. There was one case that some guys with motorbike went to a bank and robbed, and it was during the broad daylight. Hardly will you see, yeah, a crime scene happen like this in broad daylight. But I think it's as a result of the kind of pressure and moment of lockdown that they have gone through. One day they just, you know, did that. So yeah, I think it's related to increase in the crime, because really, if you are unemployed and we are in lockdown, you kind of think of at daybreak, what do you eat? What do you put on your table for your family? You understand? Yeah. So all these have contributed to those factors that has increased in the crime rates. Yeah.
The reason I asked that, because through Manor Youth Project, we're interested in cross-cultural situations with the youth. We take 10 young men and 10 young women separately to different camps, and the idea is that we take them through what's called rites of passage, where they arrive on a Friday night, they go home on a Sunday night. And over those couple of days, if it's the men, we take the boys and their fathers. If it's the women, it's the girls and their mothers. And we have female facilitators for the females and male facilitators for us. So we have like elders, and they will go through a cultural rites of passage that suits them, that's safe. Instead of drinking, doing drugs, and getting into trouble with young girls and things like that, that we create some activities for them to go through their transition and their maturity, so that they emerge from that weekend more with an adult mindset than a juvenile or adolescent mindset. And we also work whilst our facilitators are working with the young people, the children, we work with us as the elders. We work with the parents, the father or the mother in the other case. So Danso, is there some sort of similar rites of passage or a program where young people are trained or mentored into adulthood in Ghana?
Yeah, Mr. Krasey, there are quite a number of them, in our tradition and culture also. There are some practices that, especially for some tribes, it depend on, they call it puberty rites. So
Oh, okay.
the lady is ushered into, adulthood, from teenage to adulthood. And also our educational system is structured more or less in that way, that you would graduate from the senior high school and enter university, and then you can do your master's and PhD. So whilst doing all this, you are ushered into adulthood, and you are supposed to decide for yourself, what to do in the future, and you will be guided. Some people are fortunate to be guided by their parents and some guidance, but then mostly a lot of people also are lacking this.
Hmm. Yeah, well, one of the pathways that we saw here was with FKC Digital and the work that we've done with you in the past is we strike online a lot of youth that would like a pathway forward. So we feel that we can create some future work with digital so that young people can express themselves with blogging or website creation or animation or design. So we're thinking of traineeships there and some cross-cultural work with different organisations. Rick, my partner in Mana Youth Project, has a really strong connection to the Hawaiian culture and Polynesian, and here we're looking at Indigenous cultures as well, so that as we move forward with helping mental health and holistic health with employment and economy, we're also looking at intercultural and cross-cultural connections. So it'd be a passion of mine to visit you one day and actually meet you face to face in Africa.
That's great, Mr. Krasey. Um, I would like to contribute to the culture and how you want to develop the socioeconomic welfare of the individuals. When it comes to community-based activities, an individual will have a kind of skill that can. One of the ventures of iWorks, to leverage their talents and let their talent or gifts or any sort of skill that they have acquired create job for them by means of the technology. So as you said, you rightfully put it that we let them express their interest in blogging and then website creation and what have you. This will be that set of um, people, or that set of youth that we are ushering into adulthood, whereby we will create jobs for them and they will also build a community. So those sorts of category, we are looking at the online presence. But likewise, there are traditions like and events like football or games that they can also, in Ghana, every 4 p.m. to say every 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., you see the young boys playing soccer around. They play football. And it has been a routine. And sometimes on weekends, mostly every community, you see them playing. So we thought of we could channel this into kind of, we say Kobo is a local term. We can channel it online, and they make money from it, whereby the website, it's be like a community website and the activities that goes on in the community. So basically, there are companies in the community that will need service and products to be marketed. For that sense, these communities will get their products marketed on the website. You understand?
I do.
Now, equally, there will be need for human resource to manage the website. So we leave that in the hands of the youth that we are giving them the training and the job opportunities. You get my point. So this is kind of a two side of a coin um, project that we can embark on to get this done for the youth.
I know when I first started to interact with you guys, I had an influx of a lot of connection in different parts of Africa. And one part I've been working with in Uganda, in Mityana. I've worked with a couple of orphanages there, and we've done some water purification projects and water tanks. We've done some mattresses, malaria nets, food, farms, engineering business. So the multi the multicultural connection and the opportunity for outreach and supporting society has now become a global work, and it's great to have people on the ground that you've built trust with, that you know that the money and the effort and the energy is actually going into real projects. Because of course, you know, in a lot of charities and scammers and things like that, a lot of people are afraid to get involved in Ghana and Africa. But I have a passion for you guys, and I've braved it out. I have been scammed quite a bit in the beginning, but I've created some filters and some checkpoints with good people now to know who's who in the place and who is authentic. So, you know, you guys have done a lot of work with orphans and charity and things like that through iWorks. Can you talk about your outreach a little bit?
Yeah, so come again, please.
Sorry, the areas where you and Botima were helping children and things like
Yeah,
that.
so mostly the area of eastern region. Ghana is segmented into regions. So the eastern side of Ghana, there is a school called Christian Heritage Senior High School. Now, yeah, so this school, we began to give them ICT trainings. We organized seminars. One of our first thing was ICTNU. That was organized for junior high students, and the orphans in the area had the chance to visit the ICT center to study with the students. And the second one was more for the senior high. We teamed the social media and you. We wanted them to find more knowledge about the usage of social media, what they can share, what they cannot share, the do's and don'ts about the social media networking. Basically, and we started doing some animation as well for one project in Accra. I think we didn't get the contract then, but then we had pitched it for, was it birth to know about your birthright. Okay, so it was an animation project that we were supposed to handle. Yeah, and quite a few of them I can't mention all. Yeah.
Well, it's really cool, the time we spend together and the interactions we have over the last 10 years. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else grows and develops between the two of us and through others. We've built quite a few free websites for youth organisations, Christian organisations, orphanages and outreaches. And we've found some ways to do some crowdfunding and send some resources. But there's nothing like really building networks of communities that are reach across oceans and borders and cultural and social mores, so that we can become more conscious and aware about the human dilemma on the planet and the way we can help and serve each other. So what do you see moving forward in the future for you?
I see myself to be part of the humble organization where we empower the youth and ushering them into adulthood to be better adults, So really, I see a future where there is a mixed race in Africa. Because why I'm saying this is when you travel in Africa, there are lots of lands that people are not staying on. I think there will be a time that there will be a lot of um, foreigners staying in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about time Africa prepare for that. We should make our homes ready to accommodate, because for me, I have like Guatemala, I have siblings and relatives that are mixed race. So Guatemala, for instance, is her mom is from Belgium, you
Mm-hmm.
understand? So sometimes I get to see my other family coming, and it's crazy the impression that hey, there will be a time the world will just have to be like this, and people are just deciding where to settle. So all this land that when you are traveling you see will be occupied one day. And for me, that's how I envisage the future, and that's the vision I want to impact in my younger brothers and sisters so that we become what God wants us to be.
You blow my mind. I'm touched in my heart. Some people ask me what religion or nationality I am. I say I'm an earthian. I mean, really, at the end of the day, God is one word, and no matter how someone faces into their spirituality or their gratitude for life, I have to respect the differences. And I have my own spirituality and my own leaning and reflection into life and with God, and I don't force it upon anybody. But I see you, Danso, as part of my family. I see you as a brother. The color, the culture doesn't make any difference to me, and I have a global perspective like this.
Yes, yes, yes. Can you tell me a little bit about your book? Was it your first book, The Secrets to the, what was the title? It escaped me. Happiness,
Oh, the keys to happiness and self-love.
happiness and self-love. Yeah.
Sure. Look, I've been a counselor and a coach for 35 years, and I've had thousands and thousands of people over social media. I retired about 5 years ago, and I've come back 4 months ago with a vengeance. But
That's
the
mentioned
book
that.
was written so that I could gift it to others. In the beginning, I set up mechanisms that as it sold, it went to support families in the Philippines, in India. We did it in 4 different languages. We did it in Tagalog for the Philippines. We did in Hindi. We did in Spanish. I had someone in Peru do the Spanish translation, and English, of course. So the idea of the book was that I actually met a guy in Scotland, and I met him online, and he was suffering clinical depression. And I worked with him for 4 hours, and he went into remission from that depression. And he'd had a lot of problems for 3 years. His actual testimony is on our FKC Health YouTube channel. And he rang me one night. It was pretty late. I was in London at the time. He was in Scotland, and he said, "Do you mean it comes down to self-love?" And I said, "Absolutely." And he said, "You've got to write a book." He said, "If you don't, I'm coming to get you." So I wrote the book to explain to people that love is nice to receive from other people. Of course, it's nice. But if you don't give it to yourself, you will adjust all your external experiences to match your self-worth, self-esteem, and self-love, and you will sabotage that love or reject it. So the only real way to have a fully happy, fulfilled, and loving life is to really love yourself. And it's not a narcissism or a look in the mirror to say how beautiful you are. It's actually an appreciation and gratitude for the life you've been given by God. So the keys to happiness and self-love are strategies for people to face into their life. And it's quite holistic, the book. One of my favorite chapters is called The Bonsai Effect, and it's only a page and a half. I've recently done a recording of that, and I seek to get some animation behind that. So I can
Hey,
talk to you after this about.
hey, I'd love to, put my animations in your writings.
Yeah, well, I can actually send you an audio script of that chapter and the written script, and perhaps you can look at what we can do with some animation, because I felt it would be really nice not to have me just read it or speak it, but to have a small video. It's only 5.5 minutes, to have it animated. So yeah, I'll send you that project after this video. We're up for time now, because I have to move into another interview, believe it or not. But we will talk again, and it's great to have you on the show. For those who want to hear more about what's going on with the FKC Health Channel, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell, and we will definitely continue our work with Danso. And yeah, it's good to have you on board.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Krasey. Good to have you back.
Absolute pleasure, man. And we'll continue the conversation after this.